people who walk to work, other means of getting to work, and those who work at home. That's all I have.
Thank you. Yes,
I know that you're preparing at some point in time some plans for the old nursing home. And
we're meeting on the 19th of September with Bonapage and Stone and Cooperative Extension to talk about their portion of the old building. And we will meet with maintenance at some point in time to look at what they want for their space. And then we need to look at laundry.
One thing that came to mind thinking about that particular project, or two things. First of all, is maybe you should explore the notion of putting Cooperative Extension in the back of the building as opposed to the front of the building. Because if you're going to spend some rehabilitation money on office space, you might be better off starting with a clean slate. Secondly, it avails the kitchen portion of that to the Cooperative Extension for either renting it out for commercial use or for classes. Mm-hmm. It also opens the front of the building up for rental to parole and probation and the Carroll County Health Initiative.
Public Health Coalition.
Without doing any rehabilitation. Mm-hmm. It might also free up some maintenance space. So it's just a thought. The other thing that I've been approached by is a nonprofit who are interested in one of the wings to actually go forward with a for-profit daycare center. Would you entertain the idea of renting a wing?
I thought that when we gave that presentation that we would have a private agency running a
for-profit.
For-profit. Yeah.
All I'm saying is that obviously the delegation wasn't interested in discussing you folks being involved in anything, but if
we weren't. I don't think we were involved. We didn't want to run it. We want somebody to come in.
But I think their direction was that all the wings come down and you end up with a center. Yep. And my question is, if you were approached by a nonprofit who wanted the use of a wing prior to its destruction, are you willing to entertain renting a wing?
Yep.
Or are you bound by some notion that the delegation wants all the wings down for existential reasons?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I'd just like to make one slight correction there. I believe that the Cooperative Extension are now looking at using the front of the building as is without any major changes. They were going to go around, look at the different offices that were, as they were currently constituted, and see if that could meet their needs, rather than having to go through renovation. I don't know what came of that. I do know that they were talking about that.
Well, I think, and the only reason I brought it up is I think it's important to stay flexible, because you may find that it frees up some space for maintenance if you're not looking at that 4,000 square feet or 3,500 square feet in the front of the building being taken up by Cooperative Extension, and you're actually building them some petitions and whatever in the old dining room. Plus, utilizing that kitchen space, I think is a possible revenue source.
Yes.
Plus, I think we got a problem with bathrooms. Second, I think maintenance needs more space, so they'll cut down on that back space, is what they were planning on. Moving a wall.
Parole and probation, currently, I think they're in like 500 square feet.
They want 1,000 square feet.
Or even 1,000 square feet. I think you're looking at a significant portion of that front being able to expand maintenance in that direction as opposed to going back.
All right, we'll take a look at it. Anybody else? Public input?
What time and where is the meeting on the 19th?
It'd be here, and I believe we schedule it for 9 o'clock.
Thank you.
What's on the 19th?
A meeting with Bonapage and Stone.
feel like I'm sitting next to Madame Lafarge here.
10
Send someone
o'clock,
up to
10
the guillotine.
9 o'clock?
Oh, 1 o'clock.
Anybody else? Yes, Mr. Vance.
No, gentlemen, then I.
Go ahead.
Can anybody explain to me why anyone would even conceive of tearing down 1 square foot of the old nursing home? This building has been bought and paid for probably, what, 40 years ago?
Yep. Well,
What?
we paid a mortgage on it, but it's all
Well, right, I
paid
mean,
for.
but it's bought and paid for now. Why shouldn't the county just mothball 100% of it? No one has a crystal ball. No one knows what the county's gonna need 20 years down the road. We do not have to renovate 1 square foot of it today.
That's
This
correct.
doesn't make any sense to me. All I heard at the delegation meeting back on the 22nd is, we're going to spend either 300,000 or 500,000 for the co-op. One being $1.25 a square foot and the other being 75, and then we're gonna go to the co-op and say, after it's renovated, can you afford this? This doesn't make any sense to me.
You're correct, you're correct. What town are you from?
Wakefield.
Wakefield.
That's right.
You need to talk with your representatives.
I did. I
You
already
did. Okay.
Good.
Then maybe you ought to come to the next meeting and do
And
the
that's the
same thing.
19th?
No, the delegation meeting hasn't been set yet,
Okay.
okay? Yeah, I've heard the same thing, but you
It
can't
just
tell the
doesn't-
delegation members that
What?
they don't want to expand county government. And they think that if we save those or mothball them, we're going to expand county government sometime later in the future, not
Or
knowing
even
what
leave it
that might
open and
be.
they'll come and fill it right away was one of the comments too.
Yeah,
Well, we shouldn't be expanding county government, number one,
yeah,
especially in this day and age. I mean, things aren't getting better, things are actually getting worse.
yeah.
And they're gonna get worse probably in the next year or two. So there should be no expansion of county government, but you shouldn't be tearing down feasible space that's already been bought and paid for
Yeah.
just because.
Okay?
Yeah, why not? Why don't we, Betty, why don't we tear down the new nursing home and then we can rehab the old one? What a merry scenario that would be.
Well, we couldn't put 103 beds back in the old nursing home according
being
to state
facetious, of
standards.
course,
Okay.
but,
What
you
you
know.
need to do also is talk to Commissioner Kenny, because she was in support of tearing not only the 4 wings, but the whole complex down. So you need to talk with her, and she lives in Wakefield, so leave that between the two of you. Yes, Mr. Albee.
Just to follow up on that, perhaps would you entertain a private company taking the amount of money that you plan on spending, tearing the building down and maintaining it?
Well, it's 112,000
Because I
plus.
certainly think if you mothball, as this gentleman said, mothball that building, you're talking about not very much money on an annual basis to maintain the space.
I think that the conversation is getting a little bit off-center here. As far as I can recall, the delegation said that we would do something, we would keep the center core and building. What they're talking about getting rid of are all 4 wings now, not the center core any longer.
That's true.
But
That's
the-
true.
But they shouldn't be getting rid of any wing.
I agree, but that's,
And let's mothball 100% of the building.
Yeah.
You don't need to renovate any of it today.
Representative McConkey just arrived. He's one that ought to hear what you have to say as well. This gentleman here is from Wakefield, and he's saying that we shouldn't be tearing down any part of the old nursing home, since it's already been paid for, that it could be mothballed for some future use. So, If you want to make a comment.
Well, if I could respond, I
Go ahead.
welcome the gentleman's compliment, and we meet on a regular basis. And it's not the delegation, your opinion is not the delegation's opinion at this point in time.
Well, therein lies the problem.
At least for discussion.
This gentleman is from Wakefield.
And we should not be tearing down 1 square foot of the old nursing home. Not 1 square, and we don't have to renovate 1 square foot of it today or tomorrow. Mothball the thing until you have a feasible use for it at some point down the road. I was here at the delegation meeting, and the delegation was, well, why don't we spend $500,000 in renovating 4,000 square feet for the co-op, and then and only then, after we've spent $500,000, then we'll go to the co-op and say, UNH co-op, can you afford $500,000 worth of renovated space, which comes down to $1.25 per square foot. Now, what is the co-op paying now in Conway? Does anybody know how much the co-op is paying presently in Conway per square foot?
$40,000 a year.
40,000, and we have 3,000 feet. I don't have my calculator.
That is including utilities and
$12
I
a
think
square foot.
everything.
That includes utilities, yes, and clean, not
Plowing
cleaning.
and
They took
everything.
10,000 off that for utilities.
Didn't we figure out
10,000 off, so we're talking 30,000 for 3,000?
So $10 a square foot.
Yep.
So if they're paying 10, how are they gonna be able to afford an extra $115 per square foot to come down here?
Wait. You
Yeah.
can't do your square footage cost on a 1-year basis. It doesn't work. It wouldn't work anywhere.
Well, no, but I mean,
You have to amortize the space's, lifespan, if you will. I mean, I think if you look at and I actually did the math on it. If you look at the debt service on $500,000, if you're speaking of that,
well,
you're looking at $7, $8, $9 a square foot. I didn't have a copy of it in front of me, but that's how it works out on a debt service basis.
well, right, but either, what the actual numbers would come down to, amortized over X amount of years, it's clearly gonna cost the cooperative far more to come down here apparently than what they're paying up there.
No,
No, it doesn't.
Should be less.
It's less.
less.
Then $10 a square foot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see those numbers.
Okay. Okay. Anybody want to talk to that issue any further?
Well,
If not, Mr. Babson?
um,
We're in public input, by the way.
Sounds good, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, it would be proper to ask, I hope I've got to pronounce it correctly, Deputy Sanchucci about
Sure.
the impound lot.
Yep.
Deputy, I had a couple of questions last week. Number one, and I don't think this is for you, but as much it is as for the county attorney. How many cases have we lost because of poor security on the lot out here? Number two, which is, they keep pawning it off on you. How many of these cars we have out here have now had the cases settled and everybody's tossing it back and forth and not taking them out of here?
I'm not aware of any, your first question, I'm not aware of us losing any at this point, but I don't know what the result of cases were as far as plea bargains or anything like that. That would probably go more towards the county attorney's office. There are, I think, presently, state police is working on getting 4 or 5 out. We're working on getting 1 or 2 out. I think, and I don't know exactly how many are over there.
Last count I had about 14.
Off the top of my head, but there are still some pending cases of cars that cannot be removed. They can be moved to another,
Right.
but I think that just around there, we're looking at probably in the process of getting probably 5 or 6 of them out of there, soon. It's a matter of getting to the insurance companies, getting people signed up on stuff, getting the insurance company